Hello guys, welcome to the Train Parrot. I keep talking about Bitcoin, but people constantly ask me pretty much in every video, when are you gonna talk about the altcoins? And the most common questions are, did I miss out from one end? Second one, are we already in the altcoin season? And the top one question is, if Bitcoin in the current context where we are has a correction, what's gonna happen to the altcoins? And I completely understand it because looking at the performance of the altcoins in the past year is just ridiculous. It's horrible. It's painful. Every single correction of Bitcoin has been pretty much, why did I buy here? Retail hasn't been here almost the vast majority of this bull market. And with them just starting to appear in the horizon, it's absolutely expectable to see so much confusion. So in today's video, what we're gonna do is observe the patterns of altcoin season. We're not just gonna focus on the actual official website of the altcoin season, which tracks the performance of altcoins from April 2017. But also we are going to look into the funding rates to see where are we in terms of how much is there left to enjoy an altcoin season. If, assuming we are in one of them, we will look at the Bitcoin dominance. We cannot talk about altcoins without talking about these beautiful patterns that we are observing directly from the dominance of Bitcoin. Sure, we will make a stop on the USDT dominance as well. In total 3, thanks to the Fibonacci trend extensions, is gonna give us some very juicy targets. So stop the video right now and go and get your notebook, take some notes, and let's start talking about strategy. Watch the full video until the very end. It's gonna be packed with information. I guarantee you that. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I put out one of these videos. And let's get into the content. So, number 1, October in 2023 was a period where the altcoins suffered from a big move down. By the end of October, they will have hit the floor and they were prepared for a race all the way from the index being on 16 to 75 and above. The altcoin season index is calculated, as the name implies, as an index. We get here a ranking of the performance of altcoins, and somewhere in the middle we can see the performance of Bitcoin for the past 90 days and pretty much where Bitcoin is positioned in the overall performance of those 3 months will give us the calculation of the index. In this case, today we are at 73, but after the collapse in January, we can say that has been pretty much all the way down throughout the year. In August, we bottomed and we went only to 47 to see another rejection. So it's been pretty much the whole year either going down or making very humble moves up, thanks to so many influencers, including myself, anticipating an altcoin season coming, but this one not really landing in our plate. And the fact is that for an altcoin season to really flourish, we need a very simple factor indeed to happen, which is, I had to summarize in just one phrase, it will be, we need good inflows of cash. Altcoins are the most risky relative to Bitcoin, and they tend to be very reactive. If Bitcoin crashes, then the altcoins suffer more, and that stands even within an uptrend of Bitcoin. It's also important to have enough retail. It's not just about the cash, but one thing comes with the other. So if there are big injections of cash, retail tends to come to the party. And why has it happened that we haven't had really any long-lasting altcoin season apart from this very short period in January above 75 in the whole bull run since 2022? That's because there hasn't been retail, there hasn't been cash. Indeed, the economy has been constrained by monetary policies, increased interest rates, quantitative tightening. The list goes on and on, not just for US, but also China and the global macroeconomy. So whenever we get some relief, it really lasts very little. And if you blink, you are back again into Bitcoin season, seeing all the altcoins again smash. So we need to position ourselves in the mind of all traders at the moment. Everybody that has been trading this period in here are a little bit becoming paranoid, thinking that everything is gonna collapse. And I had a little bit of that still, I have to admit. That partially because I am still not seeing enough injections of cash. If you watch my video this morning, you can see how micro tiny insignificant is the breakout of the Fed balance sheet, which we keep monitoring week by week, and we still don't see any improvement when it comes to global M2. We got a bit excited with this micro move there, and then we came back from where we came from. So all of these things are not really great for altcoin season, but we have to admit that we are kind of going in the right direction. Interest rates are reducing. Gold seems to be topping, dollar potentially as well, with a little bit of biting your lips, but yeah, possibly, hopefully. And it's been as well the cycle of Bitcoin. Institutions, ETFs are primarily focused their big pockets of money on Bitcoin thanks to the new ways of acquiring Bitcoin via spot ETFs. So we are in a very weird situation. We are getting to 73, which is 2 points away from an altcoin season. And we're going to look into the dominance both of USDT and Bitcoin, total free, and all the technicals pointing towards an altcoin season. It is the fundamentals which is still not there. But make no mistake, because those indexes, those liquidity injections could come anytime, indeed. And then when you look back in time, you're going to say, well, the altcoin season precede those checkboxes. So it was wise to look at the charts, which is what we're going to do in the rest of the video. So just to clarify expectations, this was an altcoin season, but it was very short-lived. If we look at the best one, which is my preferred altcoin season, let's imagine we are in November 2020. At that point, Bitcoin was doing just a small pullback of 16%, which we have covered pretty much in all the videos last week whenever we were comparing the end of November versus the smaller pullback we just had in November, which I think it was 8 to 9%. So you can see at that point, Bitcoin was having that pullback and the altcoins hit the floor with an index of 8. That's meaning that Bitcoin was above 72% of the altcoins. Only 8 altcoins, indeed it's not percent, only 8 altcoins were outperforming at that point Bitcoin. Everything else was behind Bitcoin. And that's why we can say safely that November was full on Bitcoin season 4 years ago in the cycle. From then, Bitcoin started pushing higher. During that move into getting to 65K, there were plenty of corrections of 30%, 20%. Indeed, they were magnifying up until we got into May, where there was a 50-something% correction. That ended up causing the altcoins to go back into Bitcoin season. During this whole period, from November, more or less up until April, anywhere, any coin that you invest will go up. The fights on Twitter were just about which one was gonna go faster that month, higher. People were running in circles, literally. That was an altcoin season. We are far from that. How long does this last? This lasts 134 days of altcoin season. What we are seeing in crypto bubbles so far for the month is absolutely nothing. If we enter in an actual altcoin season, one of those that last very long, multiple months, you're going to start seeing in the month of crypto bubbles many coins with over 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000%. And at that point, you're going to see the funding rates of pretty much everything in the red reaching these levels of quantiles when looking at this chart from material indicators. You can actually find the link to this chart if you go to thetradingparrot.com/charts, and in the section altcoins, you're going to find funding rate. Be aware that you're going to need a material indicators subscription, but you can get a 15% off if you want to also look at that data live. The shorter altcoin season that we had in here in January, that was the one that I refer to as a very short-lived altcoin season in here that spent very little time above 75, you can already see how much more red there is in the funding rate compared to 2021, although the quantile is smaller. And that tells me that if we really enter in an altcoin season comparable to the 2021, it's going to get into very high levels of funding rates, open interest, and things could get really crazy. So let's answer the question, are we entering into an altcoin season? And I think that we are already in an altcoin season. It's just the question of how long it's going to last, how long can it run with the amount of retail that there is in here. It's all a matter of how much flow of cash enters into the altcoins. Remember that this time the concerns are not just to do with the global liquidity in the macroeconomy. There's also the elephant in the room that for the first time in this cycle, cash went to Bitcoin via the ETFs. This thing in here has been pushing the market higher together with other institutions like MicroStrategy, etc. And in the previous cycle, in 2020, the new addresses transacting for the first time were reaching a high around here at this point in time. This cycle, the Bitcoin network is not really being used. They are literally buying contracts of Bitcoin, and the ETFs are just holding that Bitcoin steadily there, and they're not even gonna sell it. So that makes this particular cycle very unique, very difficult to figure when it comes to altcoins, because we need the flow to go from the Bitcoin network, getting sold there, and then being moved into altcoins. And the last inflow on Bitcoin ETFs were 300, and on Friday we had 332 on Ethereum, which is a great sign. But again, it's going into a contract. This is not liquid enough to move into the altcoins. And I'm not trying to tell you that there is no altcoin season or that it won't last for very long. I'm just highlighting how different is the scenario, making it a lot more difficult to guess, to forecast, to quantify how far and how deep into an altcoin season can we really get. But let's stop moaning and let's go into the charts, because the charts are absolutely saying the opposite. They are looking like if I'm wrong on everything I have said so far in the video. Starting with the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is breaking down. It has broken down and closed a weekly candle, not just way far from the ascending wedge, which is a bearish pattern that at some point we were breaking above, but we said it's really rare to be breaking above an ascending wedge after such a long period of over 2 years and then still continue up. Extremely crazy. So that proved to be just a fake out. We broke down, we started the week, and we continued. We have done so far a pinch into 55.9. That is incredible, the progress towards an altcoin season. And that is confirmed by the index being at 73 today. 73% of the altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin in just a couple of weeks. Remember what we say, altcoins pump when Bitcoin has pumped and takes a breather, assuming that Bitcoin doesn't crash. And a consolidation with a range of 10 to even 15% for Bitcoin is just chilling. So Bitcoin dominance is extremely happy. Equivalently, when we compare that altcoin season, which is this one, the most magnificent one, we could say that this cycle, instead of having an ascending wedge, what we did have was all the structure going up as opposed to this ascending wedge. Doesn't make it look very similar because there were plenty of other altcoin seasons in here led by retail. Now, without retail, what did we get? Just this, and pretty much the rest of the time, the Bitcoin dominance just going up, smashing the altcoins at least for a full year without any news. And that's how different that cycle looks to this in terms of altcoin seasons. So from one point of view, it's way overdue and we really deserve to see some altcoin season in here. How do we know that the altcoin season is finished? As you can see, you got 3 altcoin seasons in here that had a very short period, and when they are very short, you don't get a full move to the bottom of the range. You get one altcoin season that does the whole range, and that is the one that we should squeeze the last bit of juice from it. And if we get that, we should be expecting to see a whole move all the way to the bottom of the range. And that takes you to 42, or around that area in here. It's not a specific number, it's just that you have support at 41.7 based on this trend line. But remember, that is just a guide. The same you could say about this top, and we didn't reach that top. So careful with those elements. We just know that if we are in here, we could be halfway through. If we are getting into this area of 43, 44, it's already extremely risky to still not consider taking any profits. If you're here and you're still alive in the green and you haven't taken profits, you deserve a slap in the face. USDT dominance. This is really crazy. USDT dominance from 2017 has been bouncing from this trend line, and for the first time ever, we have spent 3 weeks below the trend line. This is completely uncharted territory, and I just overlap these candles that belong to that awesome altcoin season. That is what the USDT dominance was doing at that point, and I just move it. I was having it here, but I move it down just because we broke below. So maybe our altcoin season, if it plays out in a similar way to 2020, 2021, it could look something like this. If this bounces back up, that is a crash in the market. That means that everything Bitcoin and altcoins are smashed, and it should end the altcoin season. And I haven't mentioned that, but the ends of altcoin season are horrible. It's just a bloodbath. Everybody takes profit at the same time. It's a cascade of liquidation. Alts can correct 70%, 80%, and possibly have amazing recoveries in 2 months after that. But anyways, let's focus on the altcoin season, on getting it first. The last chart I'm gonna cover today is the total 3. In 2018, they were very little number of altcoins, but we still had listed total 3, which exclude Bitcoin, Ethereum. And you can see that whatever altcoins were available at that point, probably XRP, ADA, and a few more, did this pump in that bull run that ended in 2018. So I decided to use a Fibonacci trend extension from bottom of the listing to the top of that market into the bottom of the bear market. And that extension tells us that the peak of that altcoin season and the blow of top of total 3 in 2021 was in November 2021. That's the highest we managed to get with the altcoins. There was a peak as well in May, right before Bitcoin collapsed. In here, in average total 3, that's the average of all the altcoins, was minus 60% in just pretty much 1 week. So that is the bloody collapse in the middle of the bull market. And then it resumes, giving another 180% up. So the first collapse is not the end of the bull market for the altcoins, at least in the previous cycle. You can tell that the Fibonacci extension made it to 3. That is $1 trillion. So take note, $1 trillion, multiple push-ups with each and every drawdown in the altcoin season becoming larger and larger. So this altcoin season ends in May, and then there's another altcoin season, probably August into November 2021. I had them tracked in here so you can see. This is the longest one, then we have another altcoin season in there, and then bear market. So what if this cycle we made it to the Fibonacci extension of 3? How far can we get? Well, I have that ready for you. So I took this top of the market and I placed my extension from the bottom of this bear market. And if we were to get to an extension of 3, that takes us into $3.6 trillion. And hold on to your horses, because at the moment we are barely 1 trillion. So we are precisely where we were in November 2021. And note that this is just 1 month of having retail coming back. So it's just the beginning. So I got good and bad news. So which one you want first? Okay, let's go for the bad news first. The bad news is that from the bottom in here of this extension that goes from 300 billion into 787 billion, if we use the Fibonacci extension to that bottom at 464 billion, we are reaching the 1272. That is a conservative target for this extension. Some people might say, no, we should get into the golden pocket. So I will say between 1 trillion to 1.2 trillion, we should have at some point there some correction. So let's be positive and let's think that we can get there. If we get there, we should see some corrections in here and then further continuation to the upside. Let's be also a bit negative with the final peak of the market. Assume that we don't get to the extension 3. Let's assume that we get just to the extension 2. Why is that? Because maybe this bull market is also having diminishing returns on total 3. Let's just be more conservative. 2.5 trillion, that is the target if we achieve the extension of 2 in the Fibonacci. Basically going all the way to here. And if you think about it, this one made it just to 300, this one to 1 trillion. And thinking anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5 trillion, it doesn't really surprise me. So the bad news is that we might be 200 billion, anywhere from 0 to 200 billion, really from a correction within the altcoin season. Just because of this parabolic move, we need some cool down. We could build a bull flag somewhere in there. We should be seeing some sort of higher low in total 3. You can see in here in November, we had a drawdown of 26% into January, but then we continue extremely parabolic in January, February, March, and April. So I think I will accept absolutely to see some cool down in here, but then as long as we get that continuation into 2.5 to 3.5 trillion coming up next year based on past performance. Guys, if you want to trade altcoins or Bitcoin, Ethereum, consider opening a new account on Bybit. I have a link in the description that offers 30,000 in bonuses based on trading volume and the lowest fees to trade. This is my favorite exchange. By the way, I use it to trade with all my bots to get the longest list of altcoins, best support for APIs, leverage, and all the things that I need. But if you are sick and tired of needing KYC and a VPN to access your exchange, consider using bluffing. I'm currently running this campaign where I offer bonuses for deposits and for trading volume. You can open as many accounts as you want, use them from anywhere in the world. As a second option, I also have a new exchange that I'm featuring. Is called 2bit and it's from the same creators of Bybit, but this time is their version non-KYC. So if you are familiar with Bybit, you're gonna find 2bit extremely easy to use already. Take advantage of the 9K bonus and the discounts on the fees. The links are all in the description. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.